Have you ever looked at someone you love, your mother, your father, maybe even your sweet grandparent, and noticed something that just didn't sit right? Maybe they were always full of life, always moving, always doing something, but now you see them hesitate before getting out of their chair. Their steps are slower. Their hugs feel lighter. You might have told yourself, oh, it's just old age. Right? But deep down, something in you says, no, this isn't normal. Let me ask you this. Have you noticed their clothes looking a little looser around the arms or legs? Or maybe they've started saying, I'm just tired, more than usual. Maybe you caught them skipping meals they used to love, or struggling to lift something they used to carry with ease. You might brush it off. We all do at first. But what if I told you, those small changes could be the early signs of something far more serious? Something that silently steals independence, one muscle fiber at a time. Until a fall, an injury, or even a hospital trip forces everyone to pay attention. I know that sounds scary. But you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not helpless. Here's the heartbreaking truth most people don't realize until it's too late. Muscle loss in older adults isn't just normal aging, it's a silent epidemic. One that affects millions of seniors every year. And most families don't even recognize it until it's already done damage. But the good news? You can stop it. You can fight it. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how. You're going to learn the 5 surprising early signs of muscle loss you should never ignore. We'll talk about what's happening inside the body, the biggest mistakes most families make, and most importantly, what you can do about it, starting today. And yes, I'll be sharing a powerful tip from Barbara O'Neill herself. A natural, nourishing food that could help your loved one keep their strength, their energy, and their independence. You might even have it in your kitchen right now. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's walk through this together. Because if you care about someone who's aging, someone you love more than words, you need to hear this. Write down pointing backhand index comment, I'm here, if you're ready to protect your loved one's health. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Elders Wisdom Institute, where we shine a light on the things that truly matter. Let's get into it. Let's start with one of the first, and most overlooked, signs, unexpected weight loss. Think about Robert. He's 78, still sharp, still has that twinkle in his eye. His daughter, Emma, visits every weekend. She noticed his pants were sagging a bit, his sleeves looked a little loose. But he was still eating like he always did. Oatmeal for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and his usual soup and crackers at dinner. Emma thought, maybe he's just slimming down a little with age. No big deal. But over time, his face looked more hollow. His shoulders weren't as broad. He moved slower. She finally took him to the doctor, and that's when the truth came out. Robert hadn't lost fat. He'd lost muscle. You see, in older adults, muscle loss can happen without changing how much they eat. It's not about dieting. It's not about skipping meals. This silent process is called sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength as we age. And it starts earlier than you might think. By the time you see the weight loss, the body may have already lost a significant amount of muscle beneath the surface. Here's the part that most families miss: when older people lose muscle, it doesn't always show up on the scale right away. Sometimes, they weigh the same, but their body composition has changed. Pay attention to how they carry grocery bags or lift simple things. Do they pause a little longer before standing? Do they shift their posture more than they used to? Even their handshake, if it's not as firm as it once was, that's a clue. You don't need a medical degree to notice these signs. All it takes is observation and love. Because muscle loss isn't just about appearance. It's about safety, stability, and quality of life. And when you catch it early, you give them a fighting chance. But weight isn't the only thing that slowly disappears. Sometimes, the next thing to vanish is even harder to notice: their energy. Let's talk about that next. Now, let's talk about something that's even easier to ignore, but just as serious: chronic fatigue. Think about Margaret. She's 82, a gentle soul who used to start her day with a brisk morning walk around the block. Rain or shine, it was her quiet ritual. She'd wave at neighbors, stop to admire blooming flowers, and always came home with a smile. But lately, those walks have stopped. Instead, Margaret wakes up, eats a light breakfast, and before noon, she's napping in her chair. Again by mid-afternoon. And by dinner, she's too tired to finish her plate. Her family thought, well, she's getting older. It's normal to slow down, right? But inside Margaret's body, something else was happening. You see, muscles aren't just about strength, they're about energy. Your muscles act like little engines. They move you, support your posture, and help burn calories. They even play a role in how your metabolism runs. So when someone starts losing muscle, the body has to work twice as hard to do the same simple tasks: getting dressed, walking to the kitchen, even standing at the sink. That constant effort drains them. And what we see as just grandma's slowing down might actually be her body screaming for help. But here's the heartbreaking part: most families mistake this kind of fatigue for laziness, or worse, indifference. They'll say, she's just tired, or he's just not motivated anymore. But in reality, their muscles are fading, and their energy is following right behind. So how can you tell the difference between normal tiredness and something deeper? Watch for these patterns. Are they avoiding things they used to enjoy? Are they sitting longer, resting more, skipping outings, or giving vague excuses like, I'm just not up for it today? Are they more winded after doing even basic things, like climbing a few steps or walking to the mailbox? If so, it might not be just aging. It might be muscle loss in disguise. Now here's what you can do, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. You're not trying to turn your loved one into a gym goer. But you can gently reintroduce movement in safe and joyful ways. Try light resistance activities, like chair stretches, simple arm lifts with light weights or soup cans, or even water aerobics if they enjoy swimming. These kinds of movements send a message to the body: we still need those muscles. And even a little effort goes a long way in restoring energy. Because the goal isn't just to keep them moving, it's to keep them living. But energy isn't the only thing that quietly slips away. Sometimes, the most telling sign is what happens when they try to stand, turn, or walk across the room. Let's talk about balance next, because what you're about to hear could help prevent a life-changing fall. Let me tell you a story that's all too common, and all too painful. Mr. Lee was 82. Proud, sharp, still dressed in a crisp shirt every morning. He'd never needed help before. Still drove himself to the grocery store. Still walked his little dog every afternoon. Then one day, he tripped. Just a few steps from the bathroom, in his own home, he fell. His daughter, Mai, rushed over. A fractured hip. A hospital stay. And from that moment on, everything changed. The strange thing? He hadn't shown any obvious signs. He hadn't complained. But after the fall, when the physical therapist evaluated him, the truth came out. Mr. Lee's thigh and core muscles, the very muscles that keep us steady, that let us shift our weight, rise from a chair, and turn without tipping, had slowly faded away. No one noticed. Not even him. Here's what you need to know: balance isn't just about reflexes, it's about muscle. Your legs, hips, and core are your stabilizers. They are the quiet protectors that keep you upright when you reach for something or walk across a room. But when those muscles start to shrink, When they weaken, even just a little, the body can't catch itself like it used to. That's when the wobble begins. The hesitation. The quiet reach for the back of a chair. The subtle shuffle instead of a confident step. And sadly, this is where many families make a dangerous mistake. We blame the floor. We blame the shoes. We say, maybe the rug was bunched up, or, he wasn't watching where he was going. But in most cases, the fall isn't the problem, it's the symptom. The real problem is that the body's natural safety system, those vital muscles, has been quietly shutting down for months, sometimes years. So what can you do? Start watching closely. Is your loved one pausing before they stand? Do they rock a little, shifting their weight to get momentum? Are they reaching for walls or furniture to steady themselves? Do they avoid stairs, or seem unsure on uneven ground? These are your red flags. These are the whispers before the storm. Now, you don't need to wait for a fall to act. You can help prevent one by building strength and awareness before it's too late. Gentle leg lifts while sitting, simple balance exercises by the kitchen counter, walking side to side to improve stability. It doesn't take much. Just consistency, patience, and love. Because here's the thing, falls aren't just physical. They steal confidence. They make people afraid to move. And once that fear sets in, everything slows down. And the spiral begins. But while poor balance shows itself out in the open, when they walk, when they stand, there's another sign of muscle loss that hides in the most private places. A sign they may not want to talk about, but one that tells us everything we need to know. Let's talk about that, next. Now let's talk about something you might have brushed off without even realizing it. Have you ever noticed an older loved one avoiding the stairs? Maybe they used to take them 2 at a time, and now they hesitate at the bottom. Or maybe they've started sleeping downstairs, just for convenience. Have you watched someone struggle to rise from the couch? Or need a hand to get out of the car? At first, it might seem like stiffness. Maybe arthritis. Maybe they are just tired. But here's the truth that often gets overlooked. It's the thighs. The quadriceps. These large muscles in the front of the leg are what power movements like standing up, climbing stairs, getting in and out of chairs, cars, or bathtubs. And when they weaken, even the most routine movements can feel like climbing a mountain. What's especially tricky is how gradual it can be. They won't say, "My thighs are weak." They'll say things like, "I'm fine, just give me a second. Let me hold on to the railing." These stairs feel steeper than before. But the truth is, it's not the stairs that changed. It's their strength that's quietly fading away. Many people blame this on joint pain, and yes, arthritis plays a role. But in far more cases than we realize, it's not the joints at all. It's muscle loss in disguise. You see, joints and muscles work as a team. And when one stops pulling its weight, like the quadriceps, you lose not only strength, but also stability and confidence. It becomes easier to not move than to risk feeling weak. So how can you tell if this is happening? There's a simple test, something anyone can do right at home. It's called the sit-to-stand test. Here's how it works. Ask your loved one to sit in a firm chair, feet flat on the floor. Now, ask them to stand up without using their hands. Can they do it easily? Or do they push off with their hands? Rock back and forth to get momentum? Struggle to rise in one clean motion? If there's any sign of effort, it's a red flag. Not a reason to panic, but definitely a sign that the muscles responsible for mobility are weakening. And just like with all the signs we've talked about, there's hope. Even light strengthening exercises, done consistently, can bring surprising improvements. Encourage short stair climbs each day. Gentle leg lifts while sitting. standing up and sitting down a few extra times at meals. Small actions that send a powerful signal to the body, keep going. Because here's the truth, the ability to rise is freedom. When someone starts losing that, they start losing their independence. But sometimes, muscle loss doesn't show up in how they move. Sometimes, it shows up in how they eat. And not just how much, but how things taste. Let's explore that unexpected signal, next. Let me ask you something that might sound familiar. Do you remember how Grandma used to light up over a warm bowl of chicken soup? Maybe it was her comfort food, the kind she'd always ask for on a cold afternoon or when she wasn't feeling her best. But lately, she barely touches it. She stirs the spoon around and says, "I'm just not that hungry today." Or worse, food just doesn't taste the same anymore. You tell yourself it's fine. After all, she's still eating something. A few crackers here, maybe a slice of toast there. She's staying hydrated. That should be enough, right? But here's what most people don't realize, muscle doesn't just need calories. It needs protein. And not just any protein, it needs complete, high-quality sources of amino acids that fuel the rebuilding and maintenance of muscle fibers. Now here's the tricky part. As we age, our appetite naturally changes. Taste buds dull. The sense of smell weakens. Even chewing or swallowing can become harder without anyone saying a word. But even more specifically, older adults often lose their craving for protein-rich foods. They skip the eggs. Push aside the meat. Say no to beans, dairy, or even hearty soups. And when protein drops from the diet, the body can't hold onto muscle, no matter how many calories they are getting. And that, my friend, is the quiet thief. Because while we're focused on getting them to eat something, we often miss the fact that muscle is slipping away with every protein-deficient meal. It's not that they are being picky. It's not that they are being stubborn. It's biology. With age, the signals that tell us we're hungry, especially for protein, get weaker. And sometimes, digestion itself slows down, making heavier meals feel uncomfortable or bloating. So they start reaching for easier options, toast, cookies, juice, tea. Comfort foods that don't feed the muscles. And slowly, strength declines. But here's the good news, there are ways to help, without overwhelming them. Try offering warm, protein-rich broths with soft vegetables and shredded chicken. Greek yogurt, which is easy to swallow and packed with protein. Soft-boiled or scrambled eggs, seasoned gently for taste. Smoothies made with nut butters, seeds, or a protein scoop that supports older digestion. And now, this is where it gets really interesting. Because Barbara O'Neill, a well-respected voice in natural health, has a surprising dietary tip that goes against what most people expect. And the food she recommends? It might already be sitting in your kitchen. Something simple, whole, powerful, and when used correctly, it can spark real change in how the body holds onto muscle as we age. Stick around, because we're about to dive into that next. So, after hearing all these warning signs, what can we do about it? What does someone like Barbara O'Neill, a natural health educator with decades of experience in elderly wellness, actually recommend when it comes to stopping or even reversing muscle loss? Her answer isn't a trendy supplement. It's not some expensive powder or lab-made shake. It's something simple. Ancient, even. Something warm, nourishing, and shockingly overlooked in modern diets. Bone broth. Yes, real, slow-cooked, nutrient-dense bone broth. Barbara O'Neill calls it one of the most powerful muscle-supporting tonics for older adults. And here's why. Bone broth, when made properly at home, is rich in collagen, gelatin, glycine, and essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Now, why does that matter? Because your body, especially as it ages, needs more than just protein. It needs the right building blocks to repair tissues, rebuild muscles, and nourish the gut so nutrients can actually be absorbed. Collagen and glycine, in particular, help strengthen not just muscles, but also tendons, ligaments, and joints. They help keep everything connected, quite literally. And what makes bone broth so perfect for seniors? It's warm and easy to sip, ideal for those with appetite loss. Gentle on digestion, which is key for older adults who may not absorb nutrients well. Comforting and familiar, evoking memories of homemade care and healing. Barbara doesn't stop there, though. She also recommends lentils packed with plant protein, fiber, and easy on the stomach. Chia seeds, tiny powerhouses full of omega-3s and protein, perfect added to porridge or yogurt. Homemade kefir, a probiotic-rich fermented drink that supports gut health, helping the body better absorb all these essential nutrients. But here's a word of caution. Not all bone broths are created equal. The kind you find in cartons on store shelves. They often lack the gelatinous texture, the deep mineral richness, and the amino acids that come from slow simmering bones over many hours, sometimes with vinegar to draw out the nutrients. If you're going to try bone broth, go homemade. Even just a few spoonfuls a day can make a surprising difference. It doesn't have to be complicated. A small pot simmering gently with chicken bones, a few herbs, maybe some garlic and onion. That's medicine in a mug. And here's something Barbara said that really stuck with me. A spoonful of real broth, she says, is often more healing than a scoop of processed protein powder. That might raise some eyebrows. After all, aren't protein shakes the go-to for muscle support? Well, maybe for athletes. But for a senior struggling to eat, digest, and stay strong, warmth, tradition, and natural nutrition often go a lot further. So what do you think? Could something as old-fashioned as broth really be more effective than modern shakes? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But before we wrap up, let's talk about the emotional side of all this. Because muscle loss isn't just physical, it takes something else, too. Something far more personal. And that's what we're going to explore next. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Watching someone you care about, maybe your mom, your dad, your grandparent, slowly lose their strength. You might notice it in little ways at first, maybe they pause longer before standing up, or they don't laugh as much because moving around has become tiring. It feels like time is slipping away, and you're powerless to stop it. That feeling of helplessness, it weighs on you. You ask yourself, could I have done something sooner? Did I miss the signs? But here's something important, this isn't just about physical strength. It's about dignity, independence, and quality of life. When muscles fade, it's not only the body that weakens, it's the freedom to live fully. To get up without fear, to walk without stumbling, to enjoy a meal without losing interest, to participate in family moments without exhaustion. The scary part is that muscle loss often happens in silence. It creeps in quietly, hiding beneath the surface. Unlike a broken bone or a sudden illness, it doesn't announce itself with pain or urgency until the damage is already done. That's why so many families only notice when falls happen, or when everyday tasks become monumental challenges. And by then, the road back is much steeper. But here's the thing I want you to hold on to, because it's powerful and true, you do have power. You have the power to spot these signs early. To act with knowledge instead of fear. To move from feeling helpless to feeling hopeful and equipped. Imagine what it would mean for your loved one to regain some of that lost strength, to feel more stable on their feet, to rediscover the joy in simple activities they once loved. It's not just a dream, it can be a reality. And often, it starts with you noticing, caring, and taking small, practical steps. Sometimes, those steps are as simple as changing what's on their plate. As Barbara O'Neill recommends, introducing nutrient-rich foods like bone broth can be a gentle yet profound way to support muscles and joints. Other times, it's about encouraging movement, light exercises that don't overwhelm but keep muscles engaged and awake. And even beyond diet and exercise, your presence is medicine. Listening deeply when they share worries or frustrations, offering reassurance when they feel vulnerable, reminding them they are valued and loved no matter what changes come with age. You don't have to be a medical expert or a professional caregiver to make a difference. You just need to show up with love, patience, and a willingness to learn. This simple commitment can protect your loved one's independence and preserve their dignity in ways that matter most. So here's what I want you to do right now. Take 10 minutes today, no distractions, no excuses, and reach out to an elderly person in your life. It could be your parent, grandparent, or even a neighbor who lives alone. Ask them how they are really feeling. Ask about their energy levels, their appetite, and whether they've noticed any changes in balance or strength. Listen carefully to their answers. Sometimes, just knowing someone is paying attention can open the door to honest conversations and early action. It might feel awkward or uncomfortable at first, but remember, this is about love. And love is patient, it waits, it listens, and it acts when the time is right. If you notice any signs of muscle loss or if they express concerns, gently suggest small ways to start rebuilding strength. Maybe it's a few minutes of chair exercises together, or a homemade cup of bone broth served with warmth and care. These moments of connection and support are powerful tools in the fight against muscle decline. And never underestimate the ripple effect of your care. When a senior feels supported and understood, their confidence grows. That confidence can inspire them to move more, eat better, and engage more fully with life. And that, in turn, can slow or even reverse some of the muscle loss. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Millions of families face these challenges every day, and together, we can build a community of knowledge, compassion, and action. So don't wait for the next fall or the next warning sign. Act now with the tools you have. Your love, your attention, and yes, a bowl of nourishing broth, can make all the difference. Hold on to that hope. Hold on to your strength as a caregiver and advocate. Because your dedication today could mean the difference between fear and freedom for someone you cherish. You are doing something incredibly important. You are the guardian of their strength, their dignity, and their future. And in this shared journey, there is always hope.